Mal loslegen. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Beyond Core, the podcast for business leaders who dare to think beyond today's success and build a future. As you know, in every episode, we dive deep into strategies of established companies and how they build new businesses based on AI and entrepreneurial execution. Our guests are industry leaders and pioneers who are shaping what's next. And today we will explore how Vodafone goes beyond connectivity and enables companies to succeed in the era of AI. Our guest today is a special guest. It's Mandy Auerswald. Hello, Mandy. She is solution managing IoT and innovation at Vodafone. She's here as we in Dresden. She works in the Tech Innovation Center and is also a top voice for IoT and innovation. So please follow her on LinkedIn. She has a lot to say and a lot of great news every day. Welcome, Mandy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, a pleasure for us. Please, before we go into the details, can you give our audience a kind of a short intro about yourself, what you are doing, what is your passion, so that they understand who you are and what drives you?
Yeah, definitely. I try to make it short because I have really many topics I like to deep dive. And yeah, I work mostly with IoT topics, AI, XR, AR, VR, so all the innovative fields. I love to say to my children, for example, I'm like an Erfinder, explorer in a kind of way. And I work with businesses together, so like startups to corporates, and we try to find new ways to adapt to the actual times and to improve their businesses, to optimize it, automate it. And it's a lot of fun because every case is different.
Yes, absolutely. And that's, I think, the great part about innovation. So every day you see something new and you try to implement it. And as you said, to be an explorer and exploring the opportunities. And maybe our guests already heard, we are also partners, Vodafone and Fastbreak One, or we with our platform, we are also collaborating on the topic of AI. So it's also a pleasure for us to explore opportunities together with you. And yeah, when it comes to Vodafone, a lot of companies understand Vodafone and many of them know them as a telco company, but they are also a leader in IoT. Maybe you can give also a bit of an explanation why Vodafone is also a leader in IoT. I would here expect more like Siemens, Bosch, or other companies. Why Vodafone?
Yeah, because we have the connectivity in like most countries. So we have like almost, I don't know the numbers by heart, like if it's 194, it depends, but we have the most available connectivity connection in all different countries. So we are like the global worker. I'm thinking now really faster than I speak. The world global market leader. And we devise really many devices and sensors. And yeah, it's really not many people know it, but for example, in cars, you have also like many SIM cards. It's a secret how many, but
Yeah.
there's always a Vodafone card in.
Yeah, so the connectivity is a key part. So having the infrastructure where sensors and devices can talk to each other is important for IoT. And you also said at the beginning you are working in the Tech Innovation Center here in Dresden. So what is the Tech Innovation Center? What can I imagine what is happening there?
Yeah, the Vodafone Tech Innovation Center Dresden is like one of two we have in Europe for itself for the Vodafone Group, which is like from UK, as you know, like Germany is its own market. But this one is operating in Malaga and Dresden. And I like to name these two cities in one sentence because usually it's rare. And we have this big opportunity to have the Tech Innovation Center in Dresden. And we explore different business cases, but also like for governmental cases or even like just research cases. And we can bring them all together at one place, which is a unique opportunity.
It's always good to have a good place and where the like-minded people, the pioneers are coming together and help companies. And you mentioned also that you're working with companies and help them to implement, yeah, good solutions. And today we want to talk about AI and AI. I mean, since 3 years, AI is out there and it's evolving every week most. But maybe can you give us two or three examples how you supported companies to adopt to AI, to explore use cases, and yeah, to implement them and having kind of a benefit of using AI?
Yeah. There are so many different fields. It's hard to pick some, but I have like three. I took some notes. And for example, predictive maintenance is a huge field in industrial environments because the more assets are connected, the better AI can predict failures before they happen and can also assume different data and export them. Another one, just to have some claims, is like AI-supported process automation, and where sensor data and business data are combined to improve the efficiency and reduce the downtime. And a third one, for example, is AI combined with XR. There are different scenarios also, like for training, remote support, knowledge transfer, and especially where you don't have skilled workers available right now, you can save even time.
Okay. There are a lot of good examples. I mean, predictive maintenance is very obvious. I mean, I can't really imagine that there's no company out there, no manufacturing company or tool manufacturer or whatever, who's not using predictive maintenance. So I assume our audience knows about predictive maintenance, but you mentioned the second case about process automation. So can you give us a little bit more deep dive? What is happening there, or how does it really result in benefits?
Just to speak general about it, it's usually people or companies collect a lot of data, and then the different departments, each department has like Excel sheets, everybody knows still use most of the time, and then they have like the AI adoption in Excel. But what if we combine all these departments' data and connect it to a different whole new world, and also like with a new dashboard to see like how the data is like analyzed and like also helping each other to get the whole picture. So
Yeah.
we use that for a lot.
I also assume that nowadays, or in the past, 95% of each company is running on Excel, so with millions of Excel sheets. And so yes, kind of leveraging all the data and the informations inside of Excel tables, and people also developed kind of little programs and application inside of Excel would be a huge benefit and a huge foundation for AI. And the last topic you mentioned is about XR. What is XR? So I think this sounds a bit more fancy. So can you explain a bit more what XR itself is and give us also a bit more insights?
Yeah, you have AR. I think most people know this first, like augmented reality. Then you have virtual reality, where you just like in the real virtual world, but you're not in the real world, in the virtual world. And you have XR, which is like the mixed reality world. So you have both a worlds, the virtual and the real world. And for example, for trainings, we use that like, what's the word? Like stewardesses use it like for training, and firefighters to train like in a kind of real adapted environment, but like real cases. Usually it's a huge effort to set the fire, like a real fire on fire, and then to train there. And so with XR, AR, and VR, you can see these cases and adapt really fast and train the people. Or like we have this word I don't know in English, Getriebebau. If you have an engine and you have it like in exploration mode, so like in explosion mode, you see like all the little cells. So you don't need for the apprenticeship to set the young talents there, and like on real motors they can try and test. So this is, as you can hear, my favorite field also, because it's endless how to see. And for this we developed a hyper reality cube in Dresden, in the Vodafone Tech Innovation Center.
And how can I imagine this? So, I mean, augmented reality, I know I have those goggles on and I can look through and then I see the real world, but also something is planted in, and I can, yeah, it's kind of mixed. Virtual reality, I have also the goggles on and I see a completely digital world. I can play there or work there, but how is XR different?
For example, we had like the innovation night in Chemnitz, and I don't know how long ago, it doesn't matter. But for this, we visualized and virtualized Fürchtegott. Fürchtegott is his real name, his forename, and he's the founder of the Fabrik, the co-working space in Chemnitz. And so we had this. He's not alive anymore because it's like real long ago. And with the hyper reality cube, you can like make pictures like you and me were there. So we can make a selfie with Fürchtegott, and he stands next to us in the real world. We take a real picture, but he's actually not there. So this is like just a glimpse how you can see how it's working, and this you can adapt to all other business features.
So it's like a hologram. So
yeah, but like 3D, and you can interact with it. You can also like, for example, we have different cases. We virtualize also cars, for example. So you see the new high-end car. Usually everybody wants to drive the new high-end car, of course, but of course they don't want everybody to drive it. And then you can see it like in real time next to you, and you see the features, the details, and you can make it like really, really good in the details itself.
And the advantage is I don't need to wear any goggles, right? I just enter the cube
Exactly.
and I can be in this environment, and then something is enabled, like a fire for the training of the stewardess, or the Fürchtegott, or whatever else, or the engine, and I can explore it.
Yeah, the Fürchtegott, for example, or like for education in schools, we virtualized Einstein, for example. He's there with you, but you can use it with your phone, because right as today, now, not everybody has Googles at home or wants to wear them or like spend so much money on them. So you can just use it with any phone.
I think it sounds a bit like the future. So there's also a Star Trek, not the original Star Trek series, but there's I think it's kind of Voyager, and there's also a doctor like living like a hologram, and he's following the people through the Enterprise or through the Voyager starship. And you can talk to them, and he is interacting with. Is this kind of also the future of AI? So right now, when I talk to AI, I mainly go to a chat, and I chat with a chatbot. I chat with ChatGPT or Claude or whatever. I have the chat interface and interact with AI. I can also use my voice with the phone. But this would be the next way of kind of an agent having also a kind of an XR avatar, and I can work with him like a colleague.
Exactly. Yeah, we also implemented them in the shops. So if you want to buy a new phone, for example, you can go in a shop in UK and you see this kind of agent. So somebody is there, but not a real person. And it's like a combination of two worlds, because you can interact with it and you feel like there is a real human. Somebody's really talking to you, not only over the phone or not only via texting. And the agent knows all your data. So if you have a startup and you say like, okay, I want to work at the beach, for example, then the avatar knows, and he can or she can like calculate the best option for you even faster than a human.
And then this would be in the middle, right? So
Mm-hmm.
as what I described is you have a chat. On the other
Mm-hmm.
side, people talking about robots. Robots are coming. Then you have this physical robot. But now you can maybe have an XR avatar or whatever. And this
Mm-hmm.
would be in between. It would be something virtual I can interact with, I can talk to, I can interact. So I don't need the hardware for robots. I only need the hardware for the cube or for the environment.
Exactly. It's like a cost saving for this case. It depends on the case. But like for me, if I imagine I go to a shop, I don't need like an embodied intelligence. It's for me, it's fine to see like there's somebody screened, like a avatar, and he or she is talking to me, and I have the benefit that he or she is faster to know all my data, and I address what I want and get it faster, because everybody runs out of time all the time.
So this sounds really, really innovative, and maybe the way to go. And as you said, it depends on the use case. Sometimes robots are required, sometimes chat, sometimes whatever else, and full automation, and sometimes maybe like a virtual avatar. So you talked about those different cases, and I imagine you work very closely together with those leaders in the companies. What is your impression right now when it comes to their current focus? Is it more like on automation, or are they also ready to think about innovative solution when it comes to AI?
Yeah, I think like most companies start with automation. And that makes sense, because automation creates quick wins, it frees up resources, and also builds trust on AI. And then the real value comes later when you really innovate something. So with the real leaders, they think about innovation, but it takes some preparation before, as I call it. So the automation is the perfect first step, and then you really come to innovative.
So it's kind of freeing up resources, but also testing and learning, building up skills, maybe required for the innovative part.
Yeah, exactly. And most people, like, maybe this is a typical German trait, I'm not too sure about, but most people think like, okay, I have to need the perfect solution for my case. But I think it's better to go like step by step forwards and to trial and error, because from all the mistakes you learn. So many leaders want the innovation, but they need some guidance and then to get there step by step.
And when you look at 10 companies, how would you say? Is it more like 9 of them of now currently focusing on in the automation and 1 on innovation, or how would you say is the percentage?
That's hard because I work with all different branches too and all different sizes of company. So at the moment, I think everything is not really speed up because of the economical crisis. So people want to innovate, but then they put the innovation parts like for later on because they say, of course, they can save money. They don't need to invest in innovation right now. But I think this is not the best way because, yeah, you have to think a little bit more far into the future. So I would say like half and half. But I think everybody knows now they need to react. They need to do something now. They can't stay like with the business model they used for the last 10 or 20 years. And that's a beginning.
That's a good point. What do you think is their motivation to think about AI and innovation? Is it by, oh, we will be wiped out or maybe replaced by AI or maybe replaced by another startup coming around the corner? So what is their motivation?
Yeah, it's also different, but they see like, okay, my neighbor company is doing something with AI, so I have to do something also. It's sometimes it starts with this, and they don't have a clue to run in which direction. And also people think like, oh, I'm replaced by AI. So, but usually it's not that AI doesn't replace companies just out of the blue over the night. It's just companies that don't adapt, they replace themselves.
Others are coming around the corner, right? So other startups having a better idea or a better solution in place. Then, I mean, you're kind of biased because you're in the innovation center and people come to you with the topic of innovation to you. And what would you say are how do they show up? Well prepared, like I know everything about AI, or is it more like you need to skill them up first, learn and train them about AI to be ready to think about innovation, or how ready are the companies when they approach you?
Oh, this is a whole big spectrum too. There's no you never know. That's why I prepare for all the appointments, but you never know. At first, it's good to listen, and then you see like whatever you know in advance can be totally different. So sometimes you're surprised that they know so much about it, even like the leaders or the CEOs, and sometimes they just know they need to do something and don't know where to start, or they just really start from scratch. It's totally different.
And do they also bring their own ideas, or do they show up and say, "I'm just with the motivation, we need to do something, but I don't have any clue"? What is the case mainly?
Both. We have also. It's the same. It's like a Wundertüte. What is this word in English? But it's always a surprise. You never know.
And how do you support them going through this to imagine about use cases or innovation? Is there any special ingredient you bring to the table and help them to unlock great ideas?
The next levels. Yeah, it's also different because I hear a lot when I go to events, for example, I hear a lot of complaining. Yeah, I don't know. It's like everything is like kind of bad. And then they say, okay, I have only this problem in my branch. And then I say, no, because we are so widely open. I say, everybody else in this branch has the same problem or like whatever it needs to be solved. And then we start step by step. And the good thing is because we are just a global concern, I can just pick like from my workplace all the special trained people who I know and who I need for this case. And then we go like step by step. And we have a lot of partner universe too. So if we can't do it like with our own resources, I can pick from them. So I can always help. And that's what I love. I'm like a sparring partner and I love to be the bridge. And then we adopt and develop step by step.
And I mean, it's really turbulent times at the moment with AI. So for me, I mean, we are working in the AI field, so it feels like every day there are news out there. Every week something changes. It's not just about the race of the LLMs against each other. Today it's ChatGPT, tomorrow it's Claude, next day it's Gemini, whatever. But there's also so many things happening at the moment. So it's really hard to catch up with all the changes in news and whatever. What do you think is important for a leader in those turbulent times to stay, let's say, ahead of the changes, ahead of the development in AI?
Three things come to my mind if you ask me for this. It's like curiosity, which is a main topic personally too, clarity and courage. Because curiosity is always important to explore and to see what's possible. Clarity is like to see where AI actually creates value and where it does not. And courage to experiment, to see like even if it's not perfect every day, but you start with it. And leaders don't need to have all the answers as usual, but they need to create an environment where it's like allowed to learn.
You mentioned curiosity as one of your favorite topics. You gave also a TED talk about curiosity. Why curiosity? I mean, why that? Why is this a kind of a superpower a leader need?
I think like this in German it's like Neugier is like really in a bad way. Usually we transfer it, but I think if you have this here like from a child, like they explore like with wide eyes, you know, they're happy to explore and then they really think about some stuff. If like we working in some business field and it doesn't matter which it is, but we are like stumbled about ourselves and then we just like sometimes in the way of ourselves, so we don't rethink stuff and we just like, oh, it has, you know, these sentences, it always has to be done like this because it was always like this. I hate that, but yeah, there are companies out there, they're still working with these models and that's not in this times working anymore.
So it's been a bit more like go back, be more a child, try out things, be curious and learn and explore things, and not always with the fear something bad can happen, but try to explore it and learn. I mean, I also say to other leaders that it's not about failing, it's about learning. So when you learn, then you see it not as a failure. I mean, a lot of companies, especially here in Germany, and they don't want to make mistakes, right? So they try to stay away from tests or exploration or whatever, just to play the safe game. But learning is what happens when you try out things and then you can learn, does it make sense or not, and you can better judge, and that this also leads to maybe clarity, right? So to understand the real value.
Exactly, you always gain something. You gained a new solution, or like worst case you gain like a new habit, or like you gain, as you said, like from the mistakes. And if you don't try out, you will never find out what you could have gained.
Yeah, and you also mentioned courage, courage to do things. So why is this so important? And maybe why do you think it's not always there?
I think like especially in Saxony or in the Dresden area or in Germany itself, there's so many clever people, so many intelligent people, and so many people who are like optimism. And it just takes a little bit of courage just to activate them, and then let's go. I mean, we have been so good in so many fields for so many times, and just now I think it's just somebody needs to push them a little. So that's why courage is a main point too.
I also say that here in the region we have a lot of Tüftler, yeah, so kind of explorers and Erfinder, as you said, who are yeah, retrying on their small scale to improve things, and then something cool comes up as a solution. But the courage to bring it to the market or to develop something bigger is sometimes missing. So pair it with a bit more entrepreneurship to make it bigger and let the whole world know about it. And then you have even a greater impact than just the regional one.
And so many solutions already there in the drawers and untouched. And now then 5 years later, 2 years later, somebody gets them out there. Just get them out now and talk to other people, as you said, and then you can start.
Yeah, and this is exactly also the chance of AI right now. In the past, we had the bottleneck with the IT developers. So a lot of people had great ideas, but they could not develop it because people are missing, the IT developers are missing their kind of this scarce resource. They could not pay for it. Right now with vibe coding, it's kind of wiped away, right? So you need maybe a developer, but not 10, maybe just one. But then it's easier, it's faster, it's cheaper, and now all the great ideas you can pull out of your pocket, and then you can say, now I can realize them. So it's now the age of the great ideas. we can see. But it could also be bad ideas. But we are optimists and think about positive solutions here. But when it comes to you personally, I mean, your top voice of IoT innovation and thinking about AI, and as we said, you need to stay up to date with all the changes. How do you personally do this? What is your kind of a maybe daily routine to stay up to date with all the updates, all the news?
It's really hard because it's I don't try to, or now this is a goal. I try not to consume everything in total because it's impossible. And just like mainly I focus for business wise, like how could it help like my customers? How does it solve a real problem of my customer? And then I store all this data. And I love the exchange also like with between tech updates. I talk with all my customers and have discussion with partners like you, experts and researchers, and then I can help like other people too. And just to think like how I can help other people helps me a lot to sort all these massive data.
And are there any specific sources you could recommend? You could say, oh, this would be good to something, a YouTube channel or I don't know, a LinkedIn channel or something like that, or other news, something where you say, this is really good. It's not the obvious maybe, but a good one, a good source for information.
It's hard to get down to one, but yeah, just like on LinkedIn, yeah. Even two is hard, but we have a really good podcast. We host ourselves with Christoph Borzek, and because it's like all different business areas, and it's not like how to solve problems like or just one topic. It's really widespread. So I listen to it a lot when I'm in the car, and it's so wide. There's like something to pick for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, this is. I also learn a lot more every day, and then following some YouTube channels or whatever. But yeah, the time is you don't really have the time to do anything. So sometimes I'm also using AI to create a summary of a podcast or whatever to give it to me in 2 minutes instead of listening 20 minutes or whatever. So also AI is helping here. Are there any other recommendations from your side, especially for leaders, how to, what they could take away from this podcast and implement tomorrow? So if they return to their desk or finish their car drive, listening or watching this video here, what do you think? What is something immediately they could implement tomorrow into their daily routine or daily life?
Just start. I think it's just like whatever's in your mind, just start with it. Don't overthink it, and just like step by step, just to a goal and listen to your gut. I think this is a really nowadays even more important. I really feel like what my stomach tells me, and then I just do it. I don't try to overthink it, and it usually leads to the best experiences.
And this is exactly also the differentiation between an AI and a human, right? Is this human intuition, and then you should listening more and more to your internal intuition. You build over the time. I mean, you are a woman, and women are always better with their humans, with their senses and with their intuition than men. But trust your gut is a good recommendation. Now we come to an end, Mandy, with our podcast. Thank you very much for giving all the insights, giving all the overview about the tech center, but also the cases you implemented. And I personally learned especially a lot about XR as maybe something in between, and also about curiosity, clarity, courage. I take it with me. Thank you very much for joining and sharing here in our podcast.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, maybe in 1-2 years we can have another episode, and then we check out how our partnership developed over the time. Exactly. Good point. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day and see you later.
Bye. Have a beautiful day.